The album that we are going to be discussing is Stone by Baroness. So Stone is the sixth studio album by American progressive metal band Baroness. It was released on September 15th, 2023. The initial writing of this album started in 2020. However, they would embark on a 2-year tour, which delayed the recording and completion of this album, finally being released this year. So, Eric, your thoughts on Stone by Baroness?
So I feel like I'm coming into this new and you're not, correct?
This band, yes, I know this band
Yeah.
a decent amount.
So I never heard of this band before until last week. I was like, hey, we're doing this album. I do like my progressive rock every now and then. I really enjoyed Porcupine Tree,
Mm.
the album we reviewed last time on the show, which was unbelievable. And I love that band now. Like, definitely been playing a lot of them. Baroness, like, I feel like this is another one of those bands that I just really got into. Now, after listening to this album, I feel like they definitely have quite a catalog, just by looking at them. So I want to know what album is their best, because I can for sure say that this album probably isn't, right.
Yes, I would say this album is definitely more melodic,
Mhm.
more I don't want to say rock heavy. It's less metal. Let's just put it that way. It's less metal
Mhm.
than their previous efforts.
And
Um
that's why when you said a metal
Progressive
progressive
metal
metal
band.
band,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this doesn't really sound very like too heavy metal. So
Yeah, yeah.
I enjoyed this album quite significantly, and I thought it was like there are a few songs on here that I thought were just unbelievable.
Mm.
There's only one song I kind of really did not like,
Mm.
and that was "Beneath the Rose" for
Oh,
me. I
interesting.
I wasn't a fan of it, and I know I'm not against screaming if it's done well, but I just find the mixture of the screaming and the voice and the vocals, and just he was singing off key, so
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
sure that was mentioned like done intentionally, but I just didn't get it.
This is the song where he's just basically shouting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I could see your point on that one because it's definitely off key, but he's literally just shouting, and it's sort of trying to
Mhm.
convey the message of the song, just sort of
Mhm.
like un unfiltered, uncontrollable like power essentially.
Beneath the rose, so like
Yeah.
all the beauty. So that I get that. I just like coming up after a song like Last Word, which I thought was a sick song,
Mm.
especially just that intro, Embers, and then it's just like this soft kind of thing, and I was just like, "What are we in for here?" And I was expecting it to be like, like, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it was gonna be. But that little solo in the middle of word was sick. That was
Oh
awesome.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, just start shredding this like tap solo. Oh, it was so good. I really loved the Dirge. I thought that was a great song too. And I really enjoyed Shine too. I liked how it kind of went from this like melodic, slow pace, and then it just kind of slowly built up into this like craziness.
Hmm. Yeah, like it's interesting. This band is interesting, one because they've gone through so many lineup changes at this point that I wouldn't say every album sounds different. But from album to album, for the most part, there are significant enough shifts in their sound that it's hard to really fall in love with this band, in my opinion, because
Mhm.
they change from album to album so much. I think at this point they only have one original member. Um,
Mm.
but the thing is, each of the albums are just so well done and well written, and like clearly all the musicians in this band are like just so talented. Because there's just like some really technical stuff even on this album where it's just like,
Mhm.
how did you play that? It's like so good. Um, For those who really want to get into this band, I actually would recommend this album, their latest Stone, just because I feel like it's the most accessible album
Mhm.
that they have. If you want to go with their best album, they have this tendency to name their albums after colors. So I think the first one's Red Album, then it's Blue Album. Next one's, I'm trying to remember this. Yellow and Green is the third one. Purple. Then the previous one was Gold and Gray. So I don't know why they didn't stick with that and name this one Stone, but Stone technically could be a color too, I guess. But if you want their best album, it'd definitely be Purple, which is their fourth album.
Mhm.
But this, in my opinion, this would be the least metal album, so it'd probably be the most accessible one for people who want to get
Mhm.
into it. But there are definitely like riffage on this album. Like there are
Oh,
just some
absolutely.
crazy guitar riffs.
I
Um,
thought I think it was it Magnolia or Anodyne that where like the like I couldn't figure out the time
oh,
signature in the
yeah,
song.
Magnolia.
And I was just like, is this in 4/4 time or is this in like I couldn't get it. I was trying to count with it. It was driving me nuts. But I thought that this is a tight band, and
Mhm,
now that you say that they've gone through so many changes, like that's pretty good to be a tight band. And because like the cohesiveness of some musicians that have been around together for years, right?
mhm.
And just to get this, you can tell that they're really good at what they do and their craft. I'm curious, is it the guy with the beard that's still in it?
I think they all at one point had beards. I'm gonna have to look this up now.
Yeah, it's this bald guy with a beard.
The bald guy with the beard. I could look it up.
Anyways, I thought that the album art was really cool too.
Yes,
Like, is
bald
this
guy
is
with
almost
beard is the only original member.
okay? I figured I figured so. Not that it has anything to do with the review, but yeah, the album art is sick too. Like
Yeah,
it's really cool. Like it kind of reminds me almost like when you open up like a history textbook and you're looking at like ancient Greece and these beautiful statues or these like Renaissance statues kind of thing, which is cool. So I'm really intrigued. I'm gonna check out Purple. I think is going to be the next album I check out by these guys, and
nice.
but I would definitely recommend this. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. One last thing I just want to touch on is like vocally. I think this album really has really nice vocal melodies, but also
Mhm.
harmonies in it. Outside
Yeah,
of
like choir.
the shouting stuff, there's a lot of like layered vocals on this album. So
Mhm.
don't expect it to just be like guitar heavy and just like a single singer. It feels like every member in the band is singing at the same time
Yeah,
at
like
certain points.
Dirge, the
Yeah,
Dirge when it was just like all like the 4-part harmony.
yeah,
That was so cool. I was digging that. I was like, this is not. It didn't sound the same voice, like
yeah,
you said. Like all the musicians and I love when that happens because then it just sounds like the singer's singing like 7 different lines,
yeah,
right?
yeah. All right, cool. Let's final thoughts, ratings. Eric, what are you gonna give this one?
I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10.
Oh, nice, pretty
I
high.
quite I quite enjoyed this album. There were some like Beneath the Rose really like just I don't know, just put a bad taste in my mouth. Uh but uh but yeah, I quite enjoyed it. I would recommend anybody to listen to this. If they mention Baroness, I'm sure if there's like a diehard Baroness fan that comes on and probably ridicules me in the comments for next week, you're gonna probably think that I'm out of my goddamn mind that I'm giving this an 8 out of 10, but I am. So there you go.
Um, yeah, I'm sort of actually on the same page as you. I think 8 out of 10 is like an appropriate number. It's a good album. I it, I mentioned this before, but Baroness, it's just hard for me to follow their career on a consistent basis, just because there's so many lineup
Mhm.
changes in this band, and it's like the singular vision for this band. it's changed so much in my opinion, because they've gone like from not from genre to genre, but they've changed their sound significantly from album to
Mhm.
album. So from that perspective, even listening to this album, I was like, oh, this is really good stuff, but I'm having a hard time connecting with it like I normally do with most quote unquote metal bands.
Mhm.
But it's a good album. I would recommend this album to anyone who wants to listen to, who's even remotely interested in Baroness. I'd say this is the album you start with. I'm sure hardcore fans probably would disagree and say you have to go with the first album, um, but yeah, I would give this an 8 out of 10.
Right on.
All right, cool. So that was our discussion on Baroness's brand new album, Stone. For those of you following along with us every single week, I don't know why we did this, but the album that we are going to be discussing, listening to for next week is Diddy's brand new album. It's called the Love Album Off the Grid. I've taken a look at the track listing. It looks horrible. There are so many people on this, all of every single song. It's gonna be madness trying to listen to this thing. But hopefully it's good. Diddy hasn't released an album in like, I don't know, 15 years at this point. So we'll see. We'll see if he still has some magic somewhere. Um, cool. I think that's it for today. I think let's wrap this all up and get out of here. Thanks everyone for tuning in. It's Crossroads Music Podcast. We're a weekly music podcast where we discuss music topics every single week. We're here at twitch.tv/the Crossroads Music Podcast. Catch us on Spotify, Apple Music. We have a YouTube channel where we post all the stuff, so you can put your comments in there, yell at us. You can also yell at us in the Discord. Mage Prometheus says, I'm really into the old Yes albums. The Changing Time Signatures and Magnolia are great. Oh, okay. So you've listened potentially to Stone also. But yeah, Yes. Yeah, Baroness would be an evolution from a band like Yes, because Yes are just like prog rock gods. Anyways, I think that's it for this week. Eric, any closing thoughts to close this all off?
Thank you for all tuning in, and don't be afraid to leave comments so that we can mention them on the next week's podcast.
All right, perfect. All right, we will see you all next time. Have a good night, everyone in chat, and we'll talk to you later.